There's a voice deep inside every dad calling him to lead. Society, vices, inner demons, negative thoughts try to dampen and drown out that voice, but it never goes away. Your wife feels it, your children feel it, and your heart and soul feel it too. It's the voice that starts off as a whisper, but then becomes a calling to be the tip of the spear for your family, a calling to play all out and lead by example for your children, a calling to build a legacy that will go on for generations, a calling to be the warrior dad you were born to be. Dads, our children need us now more than ever to be that beacon of hope, courage, positivity, and strength. It's time to rise as warrior dads together as a brotherhood. If you felt that twinge in your soul, it's time for the Warrior Dad experience. Welcome to the show. I am excited to have special guest Larissa Mills on the show. Larissa, welcome to the show.
Hello there. How are you doing, Jeff? I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. It's funny. We had some technology issues getting on, and it's kind of crazy because that's going to be the discussion today, right? Around tech, around the impact of
different tech though.
Yeah, different tech though. So today's discussion about phones, how to balance the use of it, the impact on our kids. Yeah. First and foremost, if you would give the audience some background on yourself as well as kind of family dynamic, and then we'll dive into it.
Well, we are here as a company. We have coaches that help athletes, student athletes, doesn't matter if they're an athlete or not, to equip their minds with mental skills, resilience, emotional intelligence, leadership. And then through this process, in order to keep your confidence up in this society, social media does a good job of bringing it down.
Okay.
And social media actually is one of the biggest cause of behavioral issues today. So we help reduce social media, but we teach them how it affects their brain. And that's the biggest difference. Then we help them by putting them on a phone routine, because phone routines have been proven to prevent addiction. So if you're a high performance athlete, you and I both had this conversation, I think a while ago, where, if you're spending 200 hours of TikTok a month and you're only spending 80 hours a week at practice in NCAA, you're never going to the NBA. Right. And it's about time. And what are you doing with this time that we used to invest in people? And now it's just spent with this device. Right. That's where we're at. So we help a lot of athletes, parents, coaches with this mindset change. Right.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. And what trends have you seen? Let's start there, right? Of trends of as tech has come in and phone has come in, the trends of those young athletes, those people that those kids that you see.
Yeah, the initial change in 2007, because I was coaching competitive volleyball, and I'd been coaching for a long time by then anyway. Well, not really, like respectively as a teacher, I'd already been coaching. So I was a teacher and I would coach club volleyball, and I started to see the athletes go to their phones, like come in and stay on their phones, and then they would not greet us. They used to greet us. They used to be like high-fiving us. I was high-fiving them. Hey man, hi. I do their own little handshake. And then I started to see like it's water break time and they'd be on their phones. I'm like, no, this is focus time. This is my time. If I'm coaching you, if you're paying this much money to be in this club, I expect you to be listening to me and learning mental skills in between this time and to stay in your focused mindset, because we know the brain takes 20 minutes to refocus on something that you were focusing on before. So I saw this trend, lack of socialization, lack of caring of who's around them. Then we started to see kind of like, as it gradually we saw phones stay, I started to see this foggy, distracted, zombie type athlete that didn't really wanted to do well, but wasn't awake and didn't have the energy, because the trend was they're staying up later.
Yeah.
Right. Because they had to, the fear of missing out is a big issue. And they wanted to stay up till 1 and 2. And I'm like, well, if you're trying to get into the NCAA, I can tell you that going to bed at 1 a.m. will not get you there.
Right.
It will not get you there. I don't care who you are, what level you play at, it is a habit that will not get you there. So that's a trend I started to see. And then they'd wake up even foggier, right? So they couldn't perform again. Then I started to see, as social media platforms came on in 2010, 2015, around there, I started to see the biggest change.
Okay.
I started to see a change in self-esteem, confidence, violence, attitude, lack of respect, lack of the empathy, lack of socialization, the inability to make friends. So I saw these trends over, and I am of the vintage where I have seen sports without phones and sports with phones. And I can safely say that phone without phones was so much more, it was intense and you got a lot more done. Now coaches are saying it's taking longer to train athletes.
Okay.
Right. So we're seeing this lengthened program where to train an Olympic athlete, to train a professional athlete, the process is longer now because they can't put the drills in their head anymore as 4 drills in one. It's one drill, but they have to break it down into 4. That's never happened before 16-year-olds, but now you got to do it. So
That's
those,
crazy.
I would say.
Yeah. So one thing I love that you said, 20 minutes to refocus, right? So many people aren't just aware of that, and dads specifically, right? This is all about dads and how. Yep. 20 minutes to refocus that attention residue, right? Kind of it flows over into what you're doing, and think about that, applying that into your world and your life, but then also the kiddos as well. It's so important. You said social media, right? Biggest challenge related to
it's social media.
Feeling happy, feeling fulfilled. So explain that animal. I obviously have faced it with my boys that are 15 and 13, right? So looking forward to
hearing from you. I have 3 children who are all athletes too, so you can see how it affects them. I was very lucky because I think I caught this before it really affected my daughter, but affected her sleep. As a swimmer, you got to get up at 4:30, right?
Right. Yep. Early mornings.
But it affected her in a different way, and we just curbed it. There are no phones in our rooms in our children's homes. Mm-hmm. There are no phones at the dinner table. There are no phones in the car, actually, Jeff. Not unless you got to check something. Like if you're going to a tournament and someone's pinged mom, well, this person in the driver's seat has my phone because mom doesn't touch her phone while I'm driving. Right.
Right.
So anyway, to go back, social media does quite a number on our children's brains, and actually on an adult's brain too. So social media attacks our self-esteem, our confidence, and our identity. And here's a crazy thought. Mm-hmm. I grew up discovering who I was. Yeah. These kids are growing up learning who they should be from social media. Mm. Big difference. So yes. If you're following somebody and you want to be like them, you're not understanding even who you are.
Right.
Then you go into this comparative mode. This is the dangerous part. Comparativism makes your brain go, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not cut enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not making these times. Olympic. Right. Pitting against 2 Olympians, like ready to take on the ice. We got a Canadian and an American junior hockey players that we have, and they're pitting. Social media is doing it. They're not. They're friends. They were shaking hands and hugging this weekend, and you see social media pitting them against each other. That's not happening. They're very strongly bonded. So social media makes our brains think we're not good enough and we're not strong enough. So this affects our self-esteem, which affects our confidence. And for athletes, very specifically, or high performance people, CEOs, founders, it makes us question our decision-making in our frontal lobe, which is right here. And it kind of shuts down this lobe, which is back here. The linguistic part of your brain is back here. Social media also is slowing down your children's brains. So lack of development. So if you're just watching a video after a video, after a video, after a video, your brain is not talking. And so this part of our brains, several pediatric neurologists have been studying it, are seeing actually in children who have had 2 hours or more of phone use a day for over 2 or 3 years, their brain is slower and they don't have the verbal language. and they can sometimes, now we're seeing a trend towards introversion.
Okay.
Right. So, and the language development is behind by 3 years. So by 16, Jeff, you and I talked about this. Children have been on phones for 18,000 hours, right? This is 2 or 3 years of their lives.
Yep.
But that's huge. It means we don't have the emotional equipment. We don't have the psychological equipment. We don't have the academic equipment that we used to at the chronological age of 16. It's behind 13. If you look at writing of it from a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, I can barely read it. And our athletes do a lot of written work for us, journals and goals and initiatives and how they want to be captain and all these types of culture changes. And their writing is pretty abysmal for many. Many. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the social media piece, the comparison piece, and just
dangerous.
Feeling worse about yourself and that you're not good enough. I mean, I just think about it myself personally, right? I've had some limiting beliefs, right? We all have kind of limiting beliefs we take from childhood. Now you're adding on.
You're adding
social, right? Like you have one or two.
On top of puberty,
right?
When the brain is the busiest,
right?
You're adding this whole layer of crap onto your brain.
Self-worth was one for me growing up, right? And battled that into, discovering it in my late 30s.
Yeah.
Imagine having one of those, but then you layer on the social, like it's a double whammy that kids are just, no wonder why self-esteem and they have no confidence in their
and how this shows up in classrooms and in homes is insecurity, behavioral issues, attention seeking, a lot more attention seeking than normal. Higher gratification. It takes, how many parents are listening today where it's, you can't please your kids anymore, right? Like that's a big thing. And if you can't please them, what do you, slow down? Just slow down and spend an hour a day unplugged with your kids and talk to them about who they are, who they want to be, and teach them some mental skills, morals, ethics, values. Keep reading to them as long as you can. Those moments are gone. Like I have 3, they're older, and I've missed the cusp. The last one is out. he's done. He's like, I'm reading stuff on my own, Mom. But keeping them reading is one way to also keep the brain calm down, because social media does another thing, Jeff. So social media, when we go onto our phones, surges dopamine and cortisol into the brain. And then our hearts start skipping beats and jumping and going 120, 140. And we're just standing still or sitting down. We're not even moving. Then it surges and it tells the nervous system, the polyvagal nerve that goes from here all the way to your tummy. It makes it shake. Okay. And you wonder why people say that we have this surge of anxiety. It's not a surge of anxiety. What we're seeing in society is a surge of brain chemistry change in phones. It's addiction. There's no other way to say this. It's the reward system in the brain saying, I want more dopamine. And how do I get it? Notification, comment, check. Let's check TikTok. Let's check Instagram. Let's check Snapchat. Oh, now we done. Now they do this for 4 hours a night. Right. So one of the rules that we can do, and we can not rules, strategies, right, to help your children become healthy, strong, resilient human beings. Like in Europe, this isn't as a common problem. It's just starting to, be forceful because they're very adamant about independence and resilience in Europe. And they let their kids go off young. Like you're growing up faster in Europe and you're stronger. Your mindset is stronger. And we see this in a lot of our European athletes. They come over here, they're doing laundry, cooking. They can hear stuff. They're focused. Nothing phases them like North American, Canadian. So it's very interesting to see this difference in athletes, but coaching too. But having your phones on a schedule and reducing your child's social media time, one of the things you might want to do is reducing or taking TikTok off. Because here's the thing. If they have Instagram, the TikTok it has the same reels. They're just duplicated. So you might as well just keep Instagram, because TikTok is highly addictive. And it's no one you know. And this is where comparativism is at its best. It will make you hate yourself, see yourself, then it will track your ads, your algorithms, and send you Botox things and send you
Yeah.
weight loss things and send you workouts or diets or whatever you're on. So you are logging into those algorithms, whether you believe it. Watch Social Dilemma for that to take. I'm not on this side of the, I don't understand the algorithms and the tech. I understand the theory. I understand that. But the tech side of it is today, for instance, I just looked up Spirit Air to book my flight to Anaheim to speak. And 2 seconds later, I got an email about Spirit Airlines and about flights from another airline because I searched it in my own computer. And I'm pretty good. All my stuff's turned off. So there's so many things that we can do, Jeff, to change things because we can't keep the pendulum where it is.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah, no. I mean, the Social Dilemma, great one. I got my boys to watch it. My oldest one was fighting me on it. And I said, please, like, I've watched this once. Just, we need to watch this.
Watch it together. Yeah.
And we watched it. He probably went for his phone almost 15 times. I said, do not touch that phone. And afterwards, I literally was in tears speaking to both of them. I said, this is what we're up against. And you're up against the most sophisticated artificial intelligence known to man. You're not going to win that battle. I can't win that battle.
Nope.
I mean, for the past week and a half, have had Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok completely deleted off my phone. I will tell you, I'm a lot happier because of that fact. And I'm not pulled to try and tap on it because no matter how much willpower you have, I mean, it's hitting that brain and that dopamine and you want it. And it's just so addictive. So that highly recommend dads listening. Social Dilemma, watch it with your kids. You know, you mentioned dinner. I mean, we got a rule, no phones at the dinner table. So we sit and talk. One that you brought up that I'm definitely going to work to implement is that when we're in the car or in my truck, phones are away. Let's talk during that time because
look outside.
My boys have been, on their phones, and I'm guilty of that, right?
And we all can be, like if we're traveling or something, or like because our kids play competitive hockey, so we're constantly in a car. But you can be on your phone. If there's a movie, here's the difference. Here's the interesting thing. If we're going for a long drive, you're allowed to download one movie on your phone because movie is not social media.
Gotcha. Yep.
Right? It's the plot line, it's characters, and it's on the addictive list. It's at the bottom. It's TV. If you're looking at highest addiction, it's obviously, gambling, pornography, and then it's TikTok, then it's Instagram, then it's other ones. Even there's dangerous apps out there for children, like Roblox. There are more creepy people in there and in Snapchat, which is the most criminally infiltrated app in the world right now. The police are just always in it, looking at everything. If you want drugs, you can get it. If you want to find people and kidnap, you can do everything you want on Snapchat. So I would check your kids' locators. I would check what your kids' usernames are. I would check your gaming consoles because gaming is part of this problem, right? And yesterday, a mom told me, I went in and looked at my kid's gaming console, and she found this person who was playing with their kid. They live in Detroit. They're in Calgary. And she found out it was not a kid. It was a man taking pictures. So, and their kid, they had been grooming and playing.
Right.
So there's a lot of dangers out there. Like there's more dangers, actually, the policeman told me, inside your child's room on their phone than there is now outside.
That's crazy.
Because there's less people outside. And there's you could walk through downtown and nothing's going to happen to you now. Right?
So
that's pretty cool.
So we mentioned, hey, dinner table. We mentioned kind of in the trucks, the cars. What are some other
at night? Sleeping at night.
Yeah. We call it a digital sunset in my house, like having a digital sunset.
Same thing.
And my boys read. I give them the things to read, and it's kind of right up your alley. It's mental toughness. It's books about
we do the journals. Like our athletes do journals and mental training. They do all their work and their imagery for their next day or for their next tournament or whatever they have you, but it's all mental work. We suggest like Sudoku, word searches, after you've journaled, things that keep your mind busy, but read someone else's biography as an athlete, find them. Don't go to chapters. The books are way too much money now. I know everyone's complaining about it. So just go to like your Goodwill or your library and rent like a few out at a time, because cost is going up. So, and also there are audio books. If you are not a fan of reading, now you can actually listen to the books. So do that, because you can listen in bed and it's actually better for you even than watching TV. Because auditory means your brain is still actually more active than listening, more listening mode. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'd say my my biggest expense is books these days, but that's I love reading and myself, and then giving the wisdom or sharing it with my boys. I feel like that's,
Yeah.
our duty as dads is to pay it forward. Our duty as parents to pay it
Right.
forward and give them the strategies, tactics
Right.
that we didn't have. What if you're a dad and you can't get away from that phone? You are struggling. What can they do today to kind of break
Today.
that
So
cycle?
instantly, I would put use the control app tunings on whatever provider you use on your phone. So
Okay.
look at what you're on your phone. What are you
Mhm.
on? Are you on YouTube? Are you on TikTok? Are you on Instagram? Because those 3 hours a night that you're watching social media and not paying attention to your kids will think you're ignoring them. Kids feel
Yep.
more neglected today from parents than they ever have. I have the saddest generation of athletes I've ever had. So a lot of this comes from spending time. You need to spend time with your kids. Their brain development depends on your brain, right? Isn't
Yep.
that cool? So,
Yep.
so if you're like, we play checker, chess, we play this new game called Sequence, which is kind of cool. I like that game.
Okay.
Check it out. It's a really cool
I'll have to
game.
check it
We
out.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to play it in like partners. So you have to play it like 2 4s and 6s. So we like that game. My dad actually gave it to us for Christmas a couple Christmases ago. My kids still like it. We still play the cards, right? Or we'll watch a show together. And I actually have shut down my other TVs now in my house. So if you want to watch TV now, I've limited you to all of us sharing a TV again. And sometimes it sucks. Right? Moms lose out when Connor Bedard's on the TV, but hey, that's okay. I love watching that kid. He's fantastic to watch. But the closer we are together, the more you have to compromise on what you want to watch. And there's no phones upstairs in our household ever. So alarm clocks is the other change, dads, that you can put in your room again. Leave those phones out, because if you can untether yourself all night, your dopamine and cortisol levels lower significantly. And in the morning, one of the things you can instantly change right now is get up, eat, roll, do your whatever hip mobility, back stretch, yoga, whatever you want to do, get your lunch, and then check your phone and be intentional about how you're using it. And don't use it around your kids. I try not to use my phone around my kids. I run a business, yes, but I try. Phone is down when they come to me. When they're talking to me, I try. And they're like, Mom. And I'm like, okay, it's down. And I look because I want them to pay it. If I want their ears to be listening to me, they need my ears listening to them. Right? There is no perfection in this, but there is being better.
Right? Yep. Yeah. I would say, my wife had a mission goal this year of reading a certain number of books, and that has had a trickle down effect where boys are doing homework at the kitchen table. She's reading. I'm not going to disturb her. I end up reading. The TV's off, and I take in that micro moment, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like the TV's off, and I always look for slight edges as a family or personally, and it's amazing to have that. Hey, we're all working. We're all bettering ourselves. We're all focusing in. We're not on our phones for that time, and it's pretty cool.
And here's the kicker, Jeff. If 9 out of every 10 times we go on our phones, we feel like crap. Okay. So jealous, envious, upset, angry. Those are the feelings that most people feel in the surveys and the studies. So why is it we go to them? It's that notification. It's the addiction. And now with Dr. Huberman and other physicians saying that we are actually becoming an obsessive compulsive disordered mindset. We're constantly checking, and there's an order that people actually check their phones in too. So one of the things, we can do is delete some apps. Yeah. Delete some apps. Keep those phones out of your rooms. It's hard, I know. And do like a stream of movies with your kids. We just did a whole James Bond week.
Okay.
Right. And then my kids, well, they're really sad about the environment right now. They watched the last one of we've been watching David Attenborough. What can you do now to help the environment? Put your garbage away. We compost. Don't litter wherever you are. Recycle. Can we reuse this? And so those are conversations that obviously in this society we need to be having. And so we try and change up our theme of what we're watching. And then we'll watch like what's that? The Rock. A whole bunch of the old rock movies we would watch, and that's really funny. Right? So there's things that we're like planning and planting seeds of like people, and let's watch older movies to when they became more famous and stuff like that, like watching it for a reason, not just because you want to watch it.
Yep.
Right. But our kids also study film. So we do a lot of YouTube studying with hockey or soccer and football. So they have to study their position to better themselves. Right.
Yeah.
So we have those routines built out. But as a parent, I don't want to be that parent where my kids say, "Oh, my mom is always on her phone." That would just mortify me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm supposed to be here for them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So true. A couple of things that I just want to go back to that are key components. I mean, how I coach dads is when you wake up, you're stacking wins. You're not checking that phone first thing. Get progress, get momentum. I say, give me 7 wins in less than 1% of your day, which is 14 minutes, 24 seconds. Yep. You feel so much better, so much more equipped to take on the day. The other one that anybody listening to this live, watching live, listening to it on the podcast, you can turn off notifications. My phone, Larissa, is constantly on do not disturb.
Yeah.
If you're my favorites, and my favorites, my wife, and you can call me and it'll come right through. Other than that, I never get pinged with notifications. When I'm around somebody
all my
that is constantly getting pinged, I'm like, how do you even operate in life? Because you're constantly in just getting that.
One of the biggest things, actually, that just reminds me of an important topic, because we go into businesses and help laptops. Like my laptop was pinging 5-6 years ago, and I couldn't work. I didn't I'm like, so, but then I also didn't have the brain to figure out how to shut everything off between the phone and I'm presenting. So one day I'm presenting to 3,000 people, and my kid's calling me from school. And I'm like,
right.
And I thought I put it on do not disturb here, but he's like, you have to connect it. So I had someone come in, and it's worth it. My laptop is on silent. Nothing notifies me. So nothing interrupts me, nothing pings me, nothing distracts me. And then you feel like you're not getting anything done because you feel like you're being reminded, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. So your performance anxiety rises. Right? So that's an important thing too for parents. If we can stop the amount of notifications and we can work faster, better, and get more outdoor time, like time for us, yoga time, gym time, go take your kids to a game, anything that is, those hours that you spend with them are gone. Let me tell you, I have a 20-year-old, so it's gone fast.
I mean, I just posted today. I mean, I think by age 12, 75% of your time with your kids is gone. And by age 18, 95% of the time with your kids is gone. Like, if that doesn't scare you, to put down the phone, stop with the notifications. And to your point, right, if you have a laptop, there's no way you should be getting notified or having a preview come up of an email notification, or even the mail icon in the bottom right here. Get rid of them, because it is, again, killing your focus. And focus is, like, I think it's Cal Newport in his book Deep Work says, focus is the 21st century superpower.
Focus stamina now is actually being tested in athletes. So what's interesting in that is, if my athletes have a football game or a hockey game or a soccer game, you have to be off your phones for 3 hours. Pre-game, warm up, focusing, your imagery. And then you have your team warm up, because you have to warm up on your own and do your own mental warm up and your own physical warm up before you get to your team, right? So, and then you have your game, and then you have your post. So how did I do today? What were my wins today? Where do I
Mhm.
still need to grow? And if we're not doing that self-analysis, right, after in the cool down, well, here's the thing. If you're not practicing 3 other hours during the day of being off your phone, how are you going to perform in those 3 hours?
Right.
Your brain is going to be craving dopamine,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. It's a
So there's a lot
vicious
of
cycle for sure.
Oh, it is. And I was in a school the other day doing our programs to student athletes. One kid, I think the other teacher caught him minimum 100 times checking his phone.
Mhm.
And it was actually compulsively done, Jeff. Like he would go to the same 3 apps and then shut it off. Like he was
Right.
checking, right? He had to check and like
Mm.
what can you update the last 5 minutes from the last 5 minutes you just checked? Because we're in a program. It's 11 o'clock. Nothing much is happening in between classes besides I hate this teacher. Oh,
Right.
you're going to get this test in math, and oh, so and so, oh, and
Mhm.
there's pictures floating back and forth. Who looks good today in class? Like those are what these kids are thinking. They're not thinking about school anymore,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
They're more interested in what is happening rather than what is happening here and here. And that is a dangerous part of our society to be in, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But compulsively, if I were that kid's parent, I'd be like, we got to reduce your apps. And I might put a lock on his phone, like, so he can't touch it during the day,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Like, and the other thing is don't text your kids at school. Don't text them. It actually tethers them to you and makes them anxious. So, because they want to please you, but they also want to
Right.
please their teacher, and you're pinning them in a sandwich of pressure.
Gotcha. Right.
So talk to them before school. Let them know exactly what's happening after school. We don't need to text them during the day at all, right? You can
Yeah.
phone your kid, bring them down to the office. Remember that? You got a PA system, and you're like,
I
oh
do.
yeah,
I
I
do.
get out of school, or
Yeah.
oh yeah, I get to go, or something. And then meanwhile, you're
Right.
like, lights check.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Larissa, where can I've loved the discussion. Great topics, action items for parents, dads specifically to take
Yep.
advantage of themselves, but also guide their kids. Where can people find you?
We're at thementalgameacademy.ca. We're on Instagram, The Mental Game Academy. We're on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn as well. The Mental Game Academy is there. What we do is we help your teams. We help coaches actually too. We have coaching programs, and we help individual athletes. So we're a great gift this Christmas, right? Give the gift of mental game. There you go.
There you go. Love it. Larissa, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Dare to be uncommon. Love, lead, legacy. Create a legendary day.